never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Fine.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. I've got a very interesting college football fact that I personally don't think is that big of a deal, but because of the player it involves, it will be made to be a big deal. That's coming up in a few minutes. First, let's do a quick weekly Braves review. The Braves are currently sitting with a record of 14 wins and 5 losses, first place in the National League East. They had won 8 games in a row until yesterday afternoon. They lost to the San Diego Padres by the score of 1-0. But of course, as long as the baseball season is, you're not going to win every single game, so you're going to lose. But it was good to see them win 8 games in a row. They are off today, and then they kick off a 3-game series with the Houston Astros tomorrow night. They'll play them Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then beginning on Monday, they have a 4-game series with the Miami Marlins, who are actually playing some really good baseball right now, which is good for the Marlins. We'll see how long that continues. So the Braves next 7 days, they have the Astros Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and the Marlins Monday through Thursday. Max Fried came back earlier this week. He looked dominant, which he typically does. And of course, they have Kyle Wright back now, so their rotation is almost back to full strength. Mike Soroka pitched, I believe it was Tuesday night for Gwinnett. He says that he feels fine, and the Braves are hoping to have him back on the Major League roster coming up sometime either right around the All-Star break or shortly after. The only bad news for the Braves right now is Marcell Ozuna is hitting 83, which is absolutely pathetic. I am actually surprised he is still on the team. I know you don't want to lose the kind of money that he makes, but he's playing so bad, you can't trade him because nobody is going to want him. His one and only job is to hit the baseball. He can't run, he can't throw, he can't play good defense. His one and only job is to hit the baseball, and right now he is not doing that at all, so he is absolutely useless. It will be very interesting in the coming days when the Braves get Michael Harris Jr. back to see if they either release Marcell Ozuna, try to trade Marcell Ozuna, or send him down to AAA. I don't think they will. I think they'll send Eli White back down, but Eli White is a phenomenal outfielder. Eli White can run. He just can't hit. But I believe Marcell Ozuna's days as a Brave are numbered. unless he starts hitting the ball. But I believe the combination of all his off the field struggles, combined with the fact that he is trying so hard right now to produce in some way, shape, form, or fashion, and he's just not. And I think it's messed him up mentally, and I don't think he'll ever be the same again as long as he has on a Braves uniform. Hopefully, I'm wrong. I want to see him succeed. Coming up later on this week, I am thinking about doing a video talking about wrestling where I explain the differences between old school wrestling and new school wrestling. If I do, and you have any thoughts on it right now, please feel free to go ahead and let me know whether you like old school wrestling better, new school wrestling better, or maybe you're a young person that's never watched old school wrestling. So please feel free to go ahead and leave me your thoughts. Let's talk about NASCAR from this past weekend. All three series were in action. We had the Long John Silver's 200 from Martinsville for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And that race was Friday night. They did not get to finish the race because of rain. They ran 123 laps out of a possible 200, so they did pass the halfway point of the race. So Corey Heim gets credit for the win. The one thing I do not understand, I didn't understand it Friday night and still don't, is Friday night was the first time ever they have used rain tires on a short track. They have used them in the past, but never on a short track. They debuted them in the Truck Series Friday night, and they actually started the race about an hour and 45 minutes late because of rain, and they made the drivers start the race on the rain slick tires. But after about 25 laps, they decided that the track was dry enough. Let's go ahead and put on regular tires. So they did. But then when it started raining again, they called the race. I don't really understand why you have rain wet tires, but then when it rains, you're going to call the race. That seems kind of counterproductive. That's just my opinion. But again, Corey Heim comes home with the win, followed by Kyle Busch, Zane Smith, Ty Majeski, Tanner Gray, Ben Rhodes, Matt DiBenedetto, Taylor Gray, William Sawalik made his NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series debut and came home in 9th place, and Chase Purdy rounded out the top 10, and there is no NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race this weekend. Saturday, we had the Xfinity Series race from Martinsville. It was the call811.com before you dig 250, and John Nemechek came home with the win, followed by Sammy Smith, and he goes by Sammy because of the singer named Sam Smith. Cole Custer was third, followed by Josh Berry and Brandon Jones rounded out the top 5. 6 through 10, Justin Allgaier, Daniel Hemrick, Derek Kraus, Brett Moffitt, and Chandler Smith rounded out the top 10. And then Sunday afternoon was the NOCO 400 for the NASCAR Cup Series. Kyle Larson won his second race of the year, followed by Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, Eric Almirola, Ryan Blaney, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Darrell Wallace Jr., and Chase Elliott in his return from injury rounded out the top 10. As I said, no truck race this weekend, but we do have the Xfinity Series in action Saturday afternoon. It's the Ag Pro 300 from Talladega at 4 o'clock on FS1. And then Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock on Fox is the Cup Series Geico 500 from Talladega. Any thoughts on NASCAR? Please feel free to let me know. And the one interesting, I call it fact, you can call it tidbit, whatever you want to call it, from the world of college football, is that Steve Sarkisian has already announced that Quinn Ewers is going to be the Texas starting quarterback this year. And Arch Manning is actually going to be third string. The guy that was the backup this past year is still going to be the backup this year. And Arch Manning will be third string, which to me should not be a surprise. We're talking about Quinn Ewers in his third year of college football, going up against Arch Manning, who is going into his first year in college football. So your quarterback that has experience should be the starter. But I could almost promise you, since we're talking about Arch Manning, people are going to make a big deal out of it. If this guy's name was Arch Smith or Arch Humperdinck, it wouldn't be a big deal. But just because your last name is Manning doesn't mean you are ready. Arch Manning may end up being a complete failure. He may end up being great. But just because he's not ready right now doesn't mean he's never going to be ready. But almost immediately after their spring game, Steve Sarkisian said Quinn Ewers is my starter. To me, shouldn't be a big deal. But we will wait and see how many people make a big deal out of it, because he is a Manning, and that's the only reason why anybody will make it out to be a big deal. We know Steve Sarkisian is doing what's best for Texas, because after already coaching at Washington and USC and Alabama and the Falcons, if the Texas job doesn't work out for Steve Sarkisian, you'll probably never see him get another big-time head coaching job again. So obviously he wants to win, so he's going to do what he thinks is best. And I do believe Quinn Ewers being their starting quarterback is what's best for them as of right now. I just don't see how Arch Manning steps on campus and in 2 months' time he has the playbook down pat. I just don't believe that. Any thoughts on this, please feel free to let me know. Homes for Our Troops is a publicly funded 501c nonprofit organization that builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans. Since the 2004 inception, nearly 90 cents of every dollar spent has gone directly to our program services for veterans. Visit at hfotusa.org. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. I was racking up to play pool with my son, and he said, "Do you want a break?" "Why?" I said. "We haven't started yet." And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.